This is Charles, master of OBS LSX swap group, Cabot, Arkansas. Anyway, this is a fully plug and play wiring harness I have made for a 97 GMC Sierra. It was a 4.3 liter V6. It's a c1500. Has an nv4500 5-speed. It's getting a Gen 3 drawback cable 6.0. He's keeping his 5-speed. He wanted a fully plug and play harness. I was going to do a cheaper harness. I was going to make it with plastic loom in some places and not quite be as nice as this, but I'm a bit too anal for that, so I actually had it almost all the way completed and I just didn't like it, so I actually ended up taking the whole thing and ripping it all apart and starting over. So I'm about a month behind on this one. However, I'm really pleased with the way it's come out. Yes, I still have to put the computer on, but I'll get that done today. I'll get this thing probably shipped out either later today or tomorrow. I gotta do these grounds and finish the computer. But anyway, so here is injector 8, injector 6, injector 4, injector 2. Everything's seamless loom on the engine block forwards, all seamless loom with heat shrink. I promised him that it would be labeled. I haven't put the labels on it yet, but I will. Here's a mass airflow sensor. I've actually made this so that you turn the injectors around on the fuel rail. This way I've started making almost all my wiring harnesses. I just like them cleaner that way. Some people like their wires ran underneath the intake manifold. I'm not the guy to do them like that. That's what Richard wanted originally, and him and I had a disagreement on that. And anyway, but so I made this so you can actually flip your injector around, turn it backwards, and plug the injector in on that side and run the wiring through there. But I didn't feel like taking the time to run all the wire through there. I was just making sure it fit right now. But anyway, I'm real happy with the way this thing has come out. I've routed the crank sensor all the way along the front of the motor, and then it's going to come below the motor mount. Either above or below, you can use your own discretion, but I'd like it to stay behind the oil dipstick. That way, in case of anything that gets hot or moving near the headers, they're in this area, the starter motors are in this area, you know, I'd rather this not get hot or cut. I'm going to put some heat tape on this, probably a little bit in this area, especially along here on the front of the block. But so the starter wire from the truck, it's a little bit long. It's actually really long, but that's the stock length that it was. I did not shorten it. It's going to go right down here to the starter motor. You can probably just wrap it around like that. It'll still reach. It'll work. It'll plug in just fine. This is the coolant sensor for the truck for the gauge. What you're going to end up doing here is you're going to take this plug right here out of the head, and then you buy an adapter that screws in here, and you put the original sender in that adapter and plug this into it, and your coolant gauge in the truck will work. This one here, this is the low pressure sensor. I'm sorry, not a low pressure sensor. This is a low pressure switch. The light green wire here, that's the power coming from the truck through the actually through the bulkhead on the 96 and 99, not the C200. My bad. So that light green wire comes out of the bulkhead. That comes from your switch in your truck when you turn the AC on. The power comes through the switch. If it's got refrigerant pressure, the switch is closed, and the dark green wire with a white tracer on it, it goes over to the fuse box of the 96 to 99, and it goes to the AC relay, and then the AC relay then has a wire that comes back out for the AC compressor. That's this dark green wire right here. I do not have loom on a certain portion of it yet, but it will. I do have it labeled. I'm going to leave it just like this. I've built this one so that you use the Sandin 508 compressor. That's what we had originally talked about for this fella. So he's going to end up using the like a Holley Sandin 508 compressor bracket kit, and mount the Sandin 508 here on on the passenger top side of the cylinder head. This right here, this is a 96 to 99 V6 specific. This actually just this module. This is, I call it a fuel module. It has something to do with the fuel level and the fuel pressure and all that bullshit. A lot of people have said, even I have said, that you can take the purple white wire on this plug and route it all the way over here to this plug, but I've left this one in its stock form. I've just ran the extra wires to the computer. I'm going to go ahead and pin them in the correct spots, and all the gauges and everything will work on this truck just like factory original. But it took me a long time to figure out what this was, where the wires went. I actually ended up just taking the wire and finding a few schematics, and I had the other pinouts and basically wrote my own pinout schematic for it. I still have no idea what the module in here actually does 100%. I know it's fuel related, that's all I can tell you. But this white plug here, this is your C200. That's your inline jumper harness that goes, you know, they actually call it an ALDL inline connector, but this has nothing to do with a diagnostic link. This is torque converter, and then the wires for the for this fuel module here. It actually had an upshift wire in this, and an automatic transmission trucks would have 2 extra wires, but like I said, this is a manual transmission. And I took out the upshift light out of this one completely. There's no spot to put it on the LSPCM that I found. I went through a lot of schematics and I just didn't find it, so I left the upshift light out. If you can't figure out when to shift your transmission on this thing, I mean, use your better judgment. You know, you ought to know how to shift. Anyways, I'm not trying to sound like a smartass. I'm really not a smartass in person. I've been up for a long time, I'm tired, and anyways, this here goes your transmission. This is your vehicle speed. This one with a yellow pigtail on it here, this is actually the same style of connector that you would have on an 88 to 91 truck, but they also use this specifically on the nv4500 and the nv4500. This gray connector here, this is actually a 4-wheel drive jumper indicator. This goes your transfer case. The brown wire on this is a key on for your transfer case, and the one is ground, and then the other one is transfer case communication up to the LSPCM. This brown, orange, whatever green looking plug you want to call here, this is actually a 2-way weather pack connector, but anyway, the pink wire on this is keyed power for your reverse light, and the green wire is reverse light to your bulkhead. This is obviously your reverse switch for your nv3500, nv4500. So right here is your manifold absolute pressure sensor. Here's your camshaft position sensor. This one is your oil pressure sensor. Here's injector 7, injector 5, injector 3, and injector 1. And right here you have your knock sensor, then your driver's bank coil, your alternator, your idle air control, and your throttle position sensor. And then right here you've got your coolant temp sensor. This is your fuel pump. This gray wire powers your fuel pump motor. Black white, I believe that was a ground or something. The green is for reverse lights, the light green is. So you've got reverse lights, fuel pump power, and a ground. I think I have to go back and look at the schematic. I know I did it right, but like I said, I'm trying to describe the harness and I don't have my Google Sheets open at the moment. So that's your, one of these is called a C130, one is called a C103. I get them both confused. Like I said, I've got these schematics on my docs. I've just, taken a video. I'm not on my docs at the moment, but Anyway, this is your bulkhead for the firewall that plugs into the right side of the brake booster. Everything on this harness here, I couldn't get the way I wanted to do this. I wanted to put heat shrink here, but the way these wires are routed, I would have had to cut up the harness a little bit more, and I already had cut it quite a bit and had to splice it back together and things, and I didn't want to completely butcher it. But this is your factory fuse box that sits under your engine bay. Your entire harness is powered by this fuse box. You don't have a separate fuse box standing off to the side anywhere. It's all in one piece here. I'm going to have a pigtail that comes out of the PCM connectors, which is all of these messy wires down here. These are all going to the computer. I just haven't put the computer on yet. I've got to extend some of these. I've got to solder some of these together and whatnot still. And then I believe that is your low brake. That is your ABS module, and I believe that's a main power and main ground going into your ABS module. I know it goes something for the EBTCM, but I'm not exactly sure what. I don't have a pinout of those. I'm not sure where to find the pinout for those. I've looked and looked and looked, and I just can't find it. But anyways, so this is a complete full plug-and-play harness. Like I said, this is a 99 to 02 drop-by cable 485360 NV3500 for 96-97 GMC Chevy pickup with a 4.3 originally, but all one piece plug-and-play, mostly braided loom. It's all braided loom. Some has split loom, but most is non-split loom. I've put the nice showstopper heat shrink and things on it. It's really a really nice harness, especially for the price that I've charged. I have not made any money on this wiring harness at all. I'm just putting it that way. But I had a promise to keep, and I fulfilled my promise. So yes, I'm behind schedule by a lot, but I've had a lot of shit happen in life. I'm a one-man show. I do a lot of things for a lot of people, and anyways, this is going to be, unfortunately, this is going to be probably the